On her first flight, she discovered an unexpected connection that changed their lives forever. Lucy Thompson stood at the gate, heart racing, the weight of her dreams humming in her chest. This was at her first flight, a journey toward her future. And yet, the thought made her stomach twist into knots. She glanced at the boarding pass clutched tightly in her hand, a reminder of the sacrifices her family had made just to get her to this point. The crisp autumn morning air filled her lungs as she took a deep breath, feeling both excitement and anxiety vying for control. As she nestled into her seat, she found herself beside a grizzled veteran named Earl. His weathered face bore stories of a lifetime, and she couldn't help but inch closer. "So, where are you headed?" he asked, his voice gravelly yet warm. "I'm off to college orientation," Lucy replied, a shy smile breaking through her apprehension. "It's my first taste of freedom, and a little scary, too." Earl chuckled softly, his eyes twinkling with memories. "I know the feeling. A long time ago, I took a leap like that myself, leaving my small town to serve my country." He paused, the weight of his words hanging in the air like an invisible thread weaving their lives together. "Had my own struggles. Just like you, I suppose." Lucy leaned in, eager to hear more. They shared stories. Their dialogue became a lifeline in the unfurling expanse of the sky. Earl's daughter had chased her dreams too, leaving home while battling the shadows of his sacrifices. Their bond deepened, exposing the bittersweet struggle of parents and children, ambitions and realities, each believing that their dreams would pave the way for brighter tomorrows. Before Lucy could catch herself, she opened up about the tight threads binding her family financial struggles that were as much a part of her life as the hopes that propelled her forward. "Every penny counts," she whispered, heart pounding, as she talked about the countless jobs her parents worked to ensure she could step foot on campus. Earl's expression shifted. She saw a flicker of recognition, perhaps remorse, in his eyes. "You remind me of my daughter," he said slowly. "I pushed her away when she needed me most. I had all these dreams for her. Guess I never saw that I could encourage her without letting go." Just then, the plane jolted violently. Gasps echoed around, and panic spread like wildfire. Instinctively, Lucy grabbed Earl's arm, breath catching in her throat. The seatbelt sign blinked ominously. As they prepped for emergency procedures, thoughts spiraled. What if she never made it to college? What if Earl lost the chance to reconnect with his daughter? In that chaos, a deeper conversation blossomed, emotions raw and palpable. Margaret, Earl's daughter, framed in Lucy's mind, took on a life of her own. "Earl, you can still mend things with her. Please don't wait like I fear I might." As their vulnerabilities spilled forth, tears rolled freely, binding their hearts. "You can't let fear halt your dreams, Lucy. You're flying toward a future," he urged, his voice gentle yet fierce. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." Just like that, clarity coursed through Lucy's turmoil. "Earl, we can't let love be overshadowed by fear." As the plane finally descended, the palpable tension still hung between them like a delicate thread. They glanced at each other, two souls caught in the wake of their stories, yearning for resolution and redemption. Would Lucy's dreams demand too much of her family's sacrifices? Could Earl repair the bond he had neglected for too long? Their futures lay uncertain, tethered to choices waiting just beyond the open sky. What lay ahead could change everything: healing, reconciliation, and new paths forged by the bravery of their shared journey. The plane touched down with a jolt, and Lucy's heart raced, not just from the excitement of arrival, but from the uncertainty swirling in her mind. As the cabin lights flickered back on, she felt the soft hum of conversation returning around her, but her world felt strangely still. Earl unclipped his seatbelt, shifting his weight with a sigh that seemed to carry the burdens of years. "Guess this is it," he said softly, turning to her. "I need to face my own flight home, too." Lucy nodded, feeling an unshakable connection to him. "You'll reach out to Margaret, won't you?" she asked, her voice steady but filled with concern. Earl ran a hand across his forehead, contemplating. "I hope so. I never realized until now how many missed chances there were." His eyes reflected a mix of regret and determination, each emotion battling for prominence. "Maybe this is it. Maybe it's time to reach out before it's too late." Lucy smiled, drawing strength from their shared moment. "You owe it to her and yourself. I can't wait for you to tell her how much she means to you." The plane doors opened, and the rush of voices and the scent of the terminal filled the air. Lucy shifted in her seat, torn between the excitement of her new beginning and the weight of what Earl was about to face. She stared out the window, watching the other passengers disembark. "This is just another step toward our dreams," she said quietly, more to herself than to him. Earl chuckled, his voice breaking the hazy silence around them. "Yeah, and sometimes those steps aren't straightforward. Sometimes they twist and turn and lead you back to the ones you love." As they stood, she felt an unexpected rush of anxiety surround her. "What if I don't fit in?" The thought slipped out before she could catch it, vulnerability peeking through her brave facade. Earl's eyes softened. "You will. Just remember to be yourself." He placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Embrace this chance, Lucy. The world is waiting for you." With that, they walked together through the terminal, two expeditions side by side. The chatter of travelers enveloped them, but amidst the noise, the bond they had cradled in their hearts glowed vividly, illuminating silent hopes and unspoken fears. Once they reached the baggage claim, they paused, stealing one last moment together. "Well, I guess this is goodbye for now," Lucy said, fighting back the torrent of bittersweet emotion that threatened to spill over. Earl extended his hand, and she took it, a firm grip that felt like a promise. "Remember, you're not just chasing dreams. You're building connections. Take care of those around you." As she stepped back, Lucy glanced up at him. There was a glint of something there, maybe hope, maybe the burden lifted just a little. "I will, Earl. Thank you for everything." He nodded, and with one last wave, they parted ways, like two ships navigating through the morning tide. Lucy felt the exhilaration build in her chest again as she headed toward orientation. Each step was a first, every person she passed was a potential friend. Every corner held a whisper of adventure. But the tug of uncertainty lingered. It had not vanished as she had hoped. Each face felt unfamiliar, like the lingering taste of fear settling at the back of her throat. What if she wasn't enough? The question lingered, echoing through her mind as she navigated the bustling campus. As she stood amid the throng of enthusiastic new students, the pang of doubt gnawed at her. Fear threatened to cloud the excitement that bubbled within. Suddenly, her phone buzzed, breaking her spiraling thoughts. It was a text from her mother. "Just remember, Lucy, you belong. We love you so much." Tears sprang to her eyes. She realized how deeply she needed that reassurance right now. And with her heart swelling, she thought of Earl's daughter. She needed to make that connection to a thread that could tie their stories, a chance to forge a new path for both of them. Would they both find a way to bridge the distance? Could this first step lead to the healing they desperately needed? She turned toward the registration table. A voice in the distance pierced the crowd. "Lucy." She spun around, her heart skipping at the sound of a familiar name. The figure approaching was someone she never expected to see. Would this encounter turn into another unexpected connection that might change everything again? As Lucy turned, her breath caught in her throat. The familiar figure coming closer was Jess, her childhood best friend. They hadn't seen each other in years, not since Jess moved across the country for her parents' new job. The shock of recognition flooded her heart with warmth, mingling with disbelief. "Lucy." Jess's voice rang out, bright and sharp in the chaos of the crowd. Her smile was radiant, an infectious beacon that cut through Lucy's anxiety like sunlight breaking through dark clouds. "Jess? I can't believe it." Lucy rushed forward, and they embraced tightly, laughter bursting forth like a long-held secret. The world around them faded, and for a moment, it was just the two of them, enveloped in familiarity and joy. "How are you? What are you doing here?" Jess asked, pulling back to look into Lucy's eyes. "I just arrived for orientation. I'm so nervous but also excited," Lucy confessed, her heart racing with the memories of their shared adventures from childhood. Jess nodded, her eyes sparkling. "Me too. I'm here for my first year of college. I can't believe we're both starting this journey at the same time. Feels like fate, doesn't it?" The words resonated deep within Lucy. Perhaps this was her chance, an unexpected connection that could transform her fears into something brighter. "Totally fate," Lucy agreed, a smile spreading across her face. They exchanged stories, catching up on everything that had happened since they last saw each other. Time melted away in their laughter, the camaraderie flooding back with ease. It was as if they had never been apart. "What do you think about this campus?" "It's huge," Jess exclaimed, glancing around at the sprawling buildings and vibrant throngs of students. "I know, it's bustling, but it feels kind of welcoming too," Lucy responded, trying to articulate the swirl of emotions churning within her. She found courage in Jess's presence, running a finger along the strap of her backpack. Jess looked at her seriously. "If you ever feel overwhelmed, just remember, I'm here. We can tackle this together." Lucy's heart swelled at the thought. She had been so consumed with doubts, but now the idea of having someone to share this experience with lit a spark of hope. "That means everything to me." They chatted until the orientation time rolled around, promising to meet later for lunch to discuss their schedules and hopes. Lucy watched Jess blend into the crowd, her vibrant personality drawing others in like a magnet. For the first time since landing, Lucy felt a sense of belonging form inside her. Maybe she didn't have to navigate this new world alone. As she entered the lecture hall, excitement mixed with nerves bubbled anew. She took a seat, casting her gaze across dozens of unfamiliar faces, yet now some felt less like strangers. And in that moment, the doubt began to unravel thread by thread. But then, just as the speaker began to talk about campus life, her phone buzzed again. Another message. "Lucy, this is Earl. I need to talk to you. Something important has come up." Her heart plummeted. What could it be? Was it about Margaret? The uncertainty washed over her. Had she not even settled into her journey before facing another storm? As she bit her lip and glanced at the speaker again, the weight of new beginnings and lingering responsibilities collided in her heart. Would this revelation pull her back away from the connections she was just beginning to form? Feeling torn, she wondered if she was ready for the chaos that might come next. Lucy sat in the crowded lecture hall, her heart racing as Earl's message replayed in her mind like a broken record. She had only just begun to embrace this new chapter of her life, and now it felt like an anchor had been thrown into her pocket, dragging her back to familiar shores. Her mind wandered back to Margaret, her younger sister, who had been struggling since their parents' separation. Earl had been a rock during those tough times, always there to help Lucy navigate the chaos. If something was wrong, it could be serious. The thought made her stomach churn. "Focus," she whispered to herself, forcing her gaze back to the speaker. But the words lost meaning amidst the rising tide of worry. She felt trapped between excitement and dread, two worlds colliding inside her. Then she noticed Jess sitting a few rows ahead, her laughter ringing out like music, infectious and warming. Lucy leaned forward, her heart aching with the contrast. Here was Jess, brimming with joy and possibility, while she felt weighed down by the responsibilities that followed her like a shadow. The urge to connect overwhelmed her. With a deep breath, she slipped out of her seat and made her way down the aisle. "Hey," she called softly as she approached Jess, who turned and met her gaze with an encouraging smile. "Lucy, everything okay?" Jess's brow furrowed with sisterly concern. Lucy hesitated, unsure about revealing the turmoil brewing inside. Kind of. I just got a message that, well, it's complicated." "Complicated how?" Jess asked, leaning closer, her interest piqued. "It's about my sister. Something might be going on, and I'm worried I might need to go back home sooner rather than later. Oh, Lucy, Jess's expression softened, empathy radiating from her. You don't have to go through this alone. I'm here for you. They exchanged a knowing look, and in that moment, the rush of anxiety in Lucy's chest felt just a bit lighter. All at once, her worries felt less daunting. Thanks, Jess. I really appreciate it. Before Jess could respond, the auditorium doors swung open with a loud bang, and in walked a group of rowdy students, laughter spilling over and disrupting the atmosphere. It broke the intensity, shifting Lucy's focus momentarily. Amidst the chaos, one student stepped forward, quite noticeably dressed in bright orange, grinning wide. His confidence was contagious, drawing curious glances from around the room. Welcome, everyone. Get ready for a fantastic semester. He boomed, letting out a laugh that brightened the room even further. Despite the momentary distraction, Lucy couldn't shake the undercurrent of stress swirling beneath her excitement. Maybe we should sit together for the next class? It might help me, Lucy suggested, gesturing towards the empty seat beside Jess. Absolutely. Jess agreed, her eyes lighting up at the idea. As the orientation continued, Lucy tried to focus, but her mind danced between Earl's message and the joy radiating from Jess. Deep down, she felt an undeniable tug, holding onto the familiar while being drawn towards the unknown. After the session ended, Lucy and Jess made their way to the cafeteria together. The buzz of students and the aroma of food pulled them into the vibrant heart of campus life. Lucy felt a glimmer of excitement. She was on the brink of something new. Yet, as they settled into their seats, her phone buzzed once more. This time it was a call from Earl. Hey, it's me, he said, his voice serious. We need to talk now. It's important. Lucy exchanged glances with Jess, uncertainty churning in her gut. She wondered, could this be the conversation that changed everything? What is it? She muttered into the phone, her heart racing. Earl's reply came through, and her world tilted as his words sent shockwaves through her. What could he possibly say that would intertwine her past with this newfound freedom? With every heartbeat, she realized, some truths couldn't be ignored, and as the moment unfolded, she grappled with the question. How would she respond when confronted with realities she would rather forget? Lucy felt a chill run down her spine as Earl's voice crackled through the phone, pulling her back to a place she thought she'd left behind. The cafeteria buzz faded away, the chatter of students melting into a distant hum. In that moment, it was just her, Earl, and the weight of his words that hung in the air like an uninvited specter. Lucy, it's about Margaret, he continued, his tone laced with urgency. I think she might be struggling more than we thought. I found some things in her room that, well, let us just say she needs help. Lucy's heart sank. The thought of her sister, lost and alone, made her chest tight. Her brows knit together as she glanced at Jess, who was now looking at her, concern etched across her face. I'm coming home, Lucy said, almost instinctively, her voice firm despite the fear creeping in. Wait, Lucy, Earl started, but she cut him off. No, I can't just sit here. I need to be there for her. As soon as the words left her mouth, she felt a rush of clarity. This was her family. This was where she needed to be. But the fleeting excitement of new beginnings at college felt like a distant dream. Lucy, you okay? Jess's voice broke through the fog of her thoughts. Lucy swallowed hard, forcing a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. It's about Margaret. She's not doing well. Oh, Lucy. Jess reached for her hand, squeezing it gently. Is there anything I can do? Do you need a ride or anything? The kindness in Jess's eyes warmed her heart. I'll call you if I need anything. But I need to get home as soon as possible. All right, let us figure it out together. Jess's determination was palpable, and it lifted a small corner of Lucy's anxiety. After ending the call with Earl, Lucy felt a pang of sadness wash over her. She had come to this campus searching for freedom and adventure, only to find herself anchored once again by family obligations. But deep down, a flicker of hope ignited. Maybe this was a chance to help Margaret, to mend a bond that had grown strained over the years. Let us go to my dorm, Jess suggested, pulling Lucy from her spiral. Let us get some food and we can talk about it. You need to take care of yourself too while you're worried about her. Lucy nodded, grateful for Jess's unwavering support. They left the cafeteria, weaving through the crowds of students, laughter echoing around them. But the joyful noise felt muted to Lucy as her mind tunneled back to Margaret, the sister she wanted to protect, but who now felt so far away. Once they reached Jess's dorm, they sunk into bean bags. The ambience shifted, filled with a blend of soft music and their shared worries. Jess handed Lucy a granola bar, a gesture of comfort. "How do you feel about going home?" Jess asked, her voice soft and inviting. Lucy hesitated, the gravity of the decision hanging above her. I feel like I'm failing her. I should have seen it coming." "Don't do that to yourself," Jess replied, a fierce determination in her voice. "You're not failing. You're stepping up. Some things just take time." Words hung in the air, echoing the truth Lucy needed to hear. Suddenly, she felt the emotional walls she'd built begin to crack. Tears threatened to spill, but she blinked them away, unwilling to let the weight of the moment pull her under. In that acceptance, something shifted inside her. "I know she's counting on me. I want to help her find her way again. Then we'll figure it out together," Jess assured her, a spark of determination lighting up her expression. "You're not alone in this." Lucy felt a warmth spread through her. Maybe this wasn't just about returning home. Maybe it was about how she could carry pieces of this place of herself with her. As they talked about a plan, Lucy couldn't shake the feeling that change was coming. Not just for Margaret, but for herself too. But an unsettling thought clung to the back of her mind. What if Margaret didn't want her help? What if this journey turned out to be more daunting than she expected? The weight of uncertainty loomed ahead, and Lucy couldn't help but wonder. Could their bond be salvaged, or was this just another chapter in an unfinished story? Lucy pulled her phone from her pocket again, her thumb hovering over the screen. She wanted to call Earl back, to demand more information, to feel like she was doing something right now, but part of her knew it would just spiral the anxiety further. Instead, she took a deep breath and focused on the moment. Jess, across from her, was actively jotting down ideas, her brow slightly furrowed. "Okay, what if we brainstorm some ways to approach Margaret? We need to get her talking," Jess suggested, excitement mingling with concern in her voice. Lucy nodded, letting that idea sink in. "Yeah. She used to love painting. Maybe I can take one of her old canvases and some supplies home. It might help her open up or at least take her mind off things." "Great idea. Art therapy is a thing for a reason," Jess replied, visibly warming to the plan. "And we can remind her that it's okay to feel what she feels. But she doesn't have to do it alone. Your family, after all." Lucy felt her worries momentarily lift. They spent the next hour gathering supplies, tools of comfort that Lucy hoped would bridge the gap between her and her sister. As they sorted through their ideas, Lucy's heart caught on a memory of days spent painting in their backyard, sunlight streaming down, laughter echoing through the air. "Do you think she'll remember those times?" Lucy asked. "What if the memories are too painful now?" Jess leaned forward, her voice steady. "It might hurt at first, but it could also remind her of better days, the possibility of getting back to that place." With that, Lucy's resolve strengthened. Hours later, she packed a bag, careful to include paintbrushes, an old palette, and a couple of the canvases she had borrowed from Jess. This was it. She was ready to go home, ready to face whatever storms awaited her there. "Hey, want to grab a bite before you head out?" Jess asked, her voice brightening the mood amidst the tension. Lucy's stomach grumbled in response. "Sure. I could use a little normalcy right now." As they walked across campus, laughter and chatter enveloping them once more, Lucy glanced at Jess. "Thank you for being here. Seriously." Jess smiled wide. "Of course. I'm not letting you do this alone. We're in this together." The food truck was alive with sounds and colors, and Lucy allowed herself to indulge in the moment, filling up on a generous serving of fries and a cheeseburger. She tried to enjoy this last taste of college life before diving back into the unfamiliar territory of home. Once finished, Lucy felt a knot in her stomach return. "Do you think I'm ready for this?" For her, I think you are, Jess said, her eyes fierce and unwavering. You love her, and that's all that matters. Just listen and let her lead. Lucy nodded, but inside, uncertainty swirled. She felt like a tightrope walker balancing precariously, unsure of how long she could hold on. What if she dropped? What if she couldn't bring her sister back to the light? As they sat on the edges of the campus fountain, Jess suddenly shifted. You need to look at this as a chance for both of you. It's not just about rescuing her. It's about rediscovering each other. Those words, simple but profound, ignited a flicker of hope. With a final hug, Lucy gathered her things. The road stretched out ahead, and she could already envision the familiar yet haunting landscape of home. But as she turned to leave, a shadow fell across her path. A message notification from Earl popped up on her phone. Fearing the worst, she read it slowly. Lucy, I think Margaret may have taken a step back. Please hurry. Lucy's breath caught in her throat. Panic surged through her. Had she waited too long? Was there still a chance to save her sister, to save their relationship? With determination fueling her heartbeat, Lucy's grip tightened on the steering wheel as she drove home. The further she got, the heavier the uncertainty loomed in the back of her mind. Would she find Margaret ready to fight back? Or would she encounter a sister too far gone? The answer awaited, and as she neared home, Lucy knew that she was not just fighting for her sister's survival. She was fighting for the very essence of family itself. Could this journey finally mend the cracks that had begun to form between them, or would it unravel everything they once held dear? The closer Lucy got to home, the more her heart raced. It beat against her ribs like a caged bird, desperate to break free. Images of the last time she'd seen Margaret flickered in her mind, her sister sitting on the edge of her bed, eyes vacant, surrounded by shadows that seemed to grow with each passing day. Lucy shook her head, refocusing on the road ahead, determined not to let those memories swallow her whole. As she entered the familiar neighborhood, every house seemed to whisper secrets of their past. The old oak tree in the front yard still stood strong, its branches swaying gently in the breeze. Lucy parked her car, took a moment to gather herself, and stepped outside. The air felt charged, heavy with expectation. She hoped that maybe, just maybe, things could shift back to something resembling normal. Here goes nothing, she murmured to herself, wishing she could shake off the anxious energy buzzing around her. Entering the house was like stepping into a time capsule. The scent of lavender lingered in the air, an aroma from their mother's favorite air freshener, and the walls were lined with pictures of happier days. Moments frozen, smiles bright, laughter captured, all so out of reach now. What would Margaret think if she saw these, felt the warmth of those loving memories? Margaret, Lucy called out softly, her voice trembling, uncertain if the sound would break the stillness or if silence would swallow it whole. There was no immediate answer. The house felt empty, too quiet. Lucy's stomach churned, a heavy weight pressing against her. She moved further inside, her footsteps muffled by the carpet as she searched room by room, until she finally spotted Margaret in the small art studio tucked away at the back of the house. Lucy paused at the doorway. The room was dim, lit only by a lone lamp on the table. Margaret sat hunched over, her hair a tousled halo around her face as she stared blankly at an untouched canvas and a pile of paint tubes nearby. The vibrant colors lay still, a stark contrast to the disarray of thoughts tangled in her mind. "Hey, I'm here," Lucy said, stepping into the room slowly, her heart aching at the sight. Margaret looked up, eyes clouded with confusion and disconnection. "Lucy?" Her voice was a whisper, laced with disbelief. "Yeah, it's me." Lucy took a tentative step closer. "I brought some things for us. I thought maybe we could paint together?" At the mention of painting, there was a flicker of something curiosity or maybe a tinge of hope across Margaret's face. "You think I can?" "Absolutely," Lucy replied, her own voice gaining strength. "You used to love it. Could help, if you want to." Margaret's gaze dropped back to the canvas, but Lucy noticed a slight tightening around her lips, like she was trying to summon a smile that had gone missing. With bated breath, Lucy watched as her sister's fingers fidgeted with the edges of the canvas, the tension in the room palpable. "Can you sit with me?" Margaret finally asked, her voice cracking under the weight of unspoken barriers. "Of course," Lucy said, relief flooding through her. She hurried to grab the supplies, her heart pounding with cautious optimism. As she set everything on the table, she felt the air shift between them, subtle but significant. For the first time, Lucy sensed a possibility of connection sparking back to life. Just sitting there alongside her sister felt like a fragile bridge being built, one gentle stroke at a time. As the first brush stroked the canvas, painting colors that hadn't been seen in ages, Lucy felt an urgency rise within her. This wasn't just about art. It was about reclaiming their bond, their history, and lighting a path out of the shadowed silence. But moments later, just as the flicker of hope began to ignite, an all-too-familiar sound from her phone shattered the intoxicating bubble. It was Earl again. "Lucy, you really need to talk to me. It's about Margaret. I think there's something you don't know." Lucy's heart sank. What was Earl talking about? She could feel the ground shift under her feet, the connection she had hoped to forge with Margaret wavering just as it had begun. What was it that Earl knew that could threaten their fragile moment? The question echoed in her mind as she wrestled with the urge to grab her phone and call Earl back now. What if there was more than just a painting for them to confront? Lucy's heart raced at the unexpected vibration of her phone in her pocket. Earl's words made her stomach twist. The looming uncertainty sent a shiver down her spine. She focused on Margaret instead, desperate not to lose this fragile moment they were beginning to share. "Hey, let us start with the background color," Lucy suggested, trying to coax lightness into her voice. "What do you feel like?" Margaret hesitated, glancing back at the canvas, her brow furrowing. "I don't know, blue, maybe?" "Perfect," Lucy replied, as she squeezed out some paint, the bright hue glistening under the lamp's glow. As she began to spread the color across the canvas with gentle strokes, she stole glances at Margaret. She wasn't just watching her paint. She was studying her, trying to read the tangled expressions crossing her sister's face. Margaret's fingers brushed against the paint tubes as she began to interact with them. A tentative movement, she picked up a brush and held it for a moment, as if allowing the weight of its purpose to settle into her skin. Lucy's breath hitched in her throat, hope blooming like a flower seeking sunlight. "Here, let me show you something," Lucy said, guiding her sister's arm to dip the brush into the blue. Together, they began to color the canvas, two strokes intertwining. With each sweep, the worries about Earl faded just a bit. But there it was again, that pull of anxiety as her phone buzzed insidiously in her pocket. It felt like a chain, weighing her down, linking her past to their present moment. Every buzz felt like a reminder that something important was brewing just outside the cozy safety of their creative space. "Lucy?" Margaret's voice was soft, almost timid as she took a deep breath. "Do you think things will ever get better?" Lucy stopped. She'd been waiting for Margaret to voice that question. The fear and sadness masked by the facade of painting now loomed large between them. "I want to believe they can," she said, her voice wanting to be strong. "I think we can help each other. We're a team." Margaret stared at the canvas, the deep blue beginning to swirl into a life of its own. For a moment, hope flickered in Margaret's eyes, a spark of something familiar. "I miss our old times." "I do too," Lucy admitted, feeling her heart crack open a little more. "But it doesn't mean we can't create new ones starting right here, right now." Then came another buzz, more persistent this time. It was Earl again. She could feel the weight of his words tugging at her consciousness, but she held on to Margaret's gaze intently, willing herself not to break that connection. "Can you hold that thought for just a second?" she asked, opening her phone against her better judgment. Margaret's expression shifted, an old fear creeping back in. "Lucy, what is happening?" "Just give me a minute," Lucy said, her fingers moving over the screen. Earl's message was a punch. "You need to know this before it's too late." An internal war churned inside her. She could feel her heart battling between staying with Margaret and the urgency to unravel the mystery of Earl's words. "Lucy?" Margaret's voice broke through her haze, soft but firm. What's going on? The walls began to close in, suffocating hope with the weight of fear. Should she answer Earl's call, risking the small bond they were slowly rebuilding? Or should she let the moment with Margaret flourish, despite the danger of ignorance? In her gut, Lucy felt a decision was coming, one that could change everything. What happens if I answer this? She wondered, the phone buzzing ominously again, echoing the hesitation in her heart. As she opened her mouth to respond, the doorbell rang unexpectedly, echoing through the quiet space, pulling them both from the edge. Who could that be? Margaret's eyes widened, uncertainty creeping back. Lucy's heart raced again, the life of the moment at stake. What now? What if the unexpected visitor turned everything upside down? The mystery thickened as the ring lingered in the air, a tangible thread of fate just waiting to be woven in between them. Lucy's gaze darted to the door, her pulse picking up speed as if it held the answers to the chaos swirling inside her. She shared a nervous glance with Margaret, who was apprehensively sticking to her spot, brush in hand, a mixture of excitement and dread in her eyes. Should I get it? Lucy asked, her heart fluttering in her chest. Margaret nodded, though her lips pressed into a thin line. With cautious steps, Lucy approached the door, her mind racing. Each step felt heavier, caught between the moment of connection she was forging with Margaret and the shadow of Earl waiting beyond the threshold. As she opened the door, the cool air brushed against her face, a stark contrast to the warmth inside. Standing there was a stranger, but the moment Lucy saw him, an odd familiarity washed over her. He was tall and rugged, with tousled hair that looked like it hadn't seen a comb in days. His eyes sparkled with an essence of sincerity that somehow made her feel seen. "Hi, I'm Jake," he said, his voice warm but also laced with hesitation. "I'm looking for Margaret." Lucy's breath caught. She could feel Margaret's presence hovering just behind her, a mixture of curiosity and concern pulsing through the air. "Margaret," she called, her voice trembling slightly. After a moment, Margaret appeared, her eyes wide as they met Lucy's questioning gaze before landing on Jake. Surprise flickered across her features. "What are you doing here?" Jake's smile faltered, replaced by a mix of uncertainty and sincerity. "I didn't know how else to reach you. I've been looking for you. We need to talk." Fear tinged the atmosphere, and Lucy felt it echo inside her, wrapped tightly in her own conflict. Should she invite this stranger in, or protect her sister from whatever storm could be brewing? But the sincerity in Jake's eyes made her pause. Something told her there was more to this encounter. "Why don't you come in?" Lucy said, stepping back and allowing him space, hoping she had made the right choice. Inside, Margaret couldn't seem to peel her gaze away from Jake, as if an unseen thread was pulling them together. "I didn't think you'd after everything," she said, her voice a whisper. "I know," Jake replied, crossing his arms nervously. "But I had to see you. I've learned some things that I couldn't just let go." As he spoke, Lucy's attention turned to the painting left standing on the easel. The blue canvas seemed to shimmer with the echoes of emotions that had just populated the room. What truths lay beneath that surface, waiting to be unveiled? Margaret took a step forward, her heart evidently racing, leaving Lucy to wrestle with her own storm of concerns. She felt a lump forming in her throat, a mix of protectiveness and fear for her sister, who was so vulnerable right now. Would the stranger bring more chaos, or would he help heal the wounds they had been carrying? Margaret's voice broke through her thoughts. "You might want to hear this too." Suddenly, the walls felt like they were closing in again, and Lucy had the overwhelming urge to protect this newfound moment with her sister. What could Jake possibly bring that would shift their newfound bond? Would it be peace, or would it cascade into chaos? Lucy took a deep breath, trying to steel herself for whatever was coming. "What do you need to tell us?" In that moment, the air felt charged with anticipation as both sisters held their breath, staring at Jake, seeking answers. As he opened his mouth to speak, the tension in the room thickened, suggesting that every word he was about to utter could unravel everything they thought they knew. What lay ahead? Would this revelation bring them closer or unravel the little progress they had made together? Lucy's heart raced again, caught in a web of hope and fear, wondering how this unexpected turn would change the delicate balance they'd just begun to establish. Jake took a deep breath, his eyes darting between Lucy and Margaret, a flood of emotions swirling in the air around them. "I know things have been complicated between us," he started, his voice shaking slightly. "But I didn't come here to stir the pot. I came because I care about you, Margaret. You deserve to know the truth." Margaret's face was a canvas painted with confusion and curiosity, while Lucy's heart raced, sensing that this might become a turning point, either for better or worse. "What do you mean?" Margaret pressed, taking a step closer, the distance between them evaporating like the fog on a dawn-lit morning. Jake hesitated, as if weighing his next words with caution. "I've been keeping something from you about our past. Things you deserve to understand." Silence stretched, thick and suffocating. Lucy held her breath, the air around them weighing heavy with anticipation. She shot Margaret a look that read both reassurance and caution, feeling the urgency of the moment. "Whatever it is, just tell us," she urged, her voice steady, though inside it quaked. With another deep exhale, Jake nodded. "Last summer, when you left, things happened that you didn't know about. I saw how much pain you were in. I didn't know what to do. I wanted to help you see that you were not alone." His voice softened as he added, "I was hoping you'd find your way back, Margaret, but I know it's been hard." Margaret's brow furrowed, memories tumbling over one another in her mind, the echoes of laughter from simpler days mingling fitfully with shadows of doubt. "Jake, I don't understand. What do you mean you wanted to help?" "I found out some things," he replied, meeting her gaze with earnestness. "You're stronger than you think, and I wanted to remind you of that. I thought maybe you needed someone to show you it's okay to feel broken sometimes." His words hit hard, a jolt of understanding. Deep inside, Margaret felt something shatter, the remnants of fear wrapping around her heart loosened by the warmth of Jake's sincerity. But even that light felt fragile in the chaos. Lucy felt a twinge of hope, sensing a shift in Margaret's energy as she stepped closer to Jake. Could this be what Margaret needed? A reminder of the support she wasn't allowing herself to accept? Margaret glanced back at Lucy, her sister providing a steady presence nearby, a lighthouse guiding her home amidst the storm. "Lucy, what do you think? Should I listen?" Lucy nodded, her own heart tightening with concern. "He wouldn't be here unless he cares about you. Just hear him out." As Margaret gathered herself, Lucy felt a swell of pride. She had wished not only for her sister's healing but also the reconnection of their past. Whatever Jake had to say could either be a lifeline or a stumbling block in their journey. Jake took a step forward, emboldened by Margaret's hesitant openness. "I know it's hard to face things from the past, but you can lean on me when you're ready. We're all a little cracked, but that's okay. It just means we have space for new things to grow." Tears brimmed in Margaret's eyes. "Why, you really mean that?" "Of course," he assured, his voice compassionate. "Life's too short to carry burdens alone, especially when there are people who genuinely care." In that moment, the walls crumbled a bit more. Margaret looked down at the canvas and picked up the brush again. "Let us paint together, but let us talk too. I need to understand." Her voice was softer, but Lucy felt hope blooming between their words, sowing the seeds of healing. They shifted back to the easel, as Lucy prepared the colors, their hands working together on the canvas. With each stroke, there was a shift, a melding of the past and present, chaotic yet harmonious, reclaiming lost pieces of themselves. With laughter weaving its way back in, Lucy stood a bit taller, happy to see the light begin to shine between Jake and Margaret. They talked and painted, laughter flowing, breaths deepening. Maybe the journey wouldn't be easy. Maybe the storms would still come. But sitting together, they shared warmth, the kind that reassured them. They were not alone in their battles. The honesty had cracked open the doors to vulnerability. As Lucy watched them begin to rebuild that untouched connection, she could feel her own heart healing too, torn between shadow and light, but ultimately embracing the courage she had to be there for Margaret. With their bond stronger than before, Lucy knew she had made the right choice in listening to Earl earlier. The painful truths were now guiding them to the clarity they needed to move forward. In the end, they each held tightly to the colors of their unfolding story's adventure and healing intertwined in a tapestry as beautiful as the sunset that flooded through the window. Facing their truths was just the beginning, but with wild strokes of courage, love, and understanding, they were ready to brush the canvas of tomorrow. The road ahead was uncertain, but they would meet without fear, together. As Lucy glanced at Margaret and Jake, joy welled up in her chest. It was a reminder of the power of connection and the strength to start anew. Now, if you're feeling inspired by this journey and want to see more stories of transformation, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep these stories flowing. I want to hear your reactions, so comment below about how this story made you feel. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation too. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions. So keep that love coming.